12:34. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Pagitt Radio. The Final Four edition of the Mommy Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Carla Barnhill, the curator of the Mommy Revolution and regular commentator, regular advice giver here on Doug Pagitt Radio, is in the Final Four to be the Good Morning America advice guru.
That's fantastic.
And I got to tell you, to the other three that are listening, the other three contestants, you don't stand a chance.
Just pack it up.
Pack it in and give it up. Carla Barnhill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Final Four. How has it been sleeping as a Final Four contestant in the big push to be the advice guru for Good Morning America?
Well, I discovered that we don't sleep, famous people.
Oh.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm learning the ropes.
Yeah, I like it. You know, there's
little... no sleeping.
Yeah, and people just bring you things all the time, and your publicist calls and says, I have another job for you. And
well, people arrive with food and clean my house, and my children are cared for. And
yes.
Really different. So I think it's going to be all right.
Hey, Carla, how did you find out that you were in the top four? So you're in this kind of contest to be the advice guru for Good Morning America, and there were from, 175,000 contestants. They whittled it down to 17, right?
Well, 15,000.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. And then they whittled it down to 50, and then 20, and then 7.
So when you got the call, how did they contact you to let you know that you were on the top four?
On live TV is how they contacted us.
And that's how you found out right there?
That's how I found out, right there and then.
So
on Thursday, they called and they said, hey, we're trying to set up little remote satellite dealy-bobs for our people, for all of you, is what they said. They were very vague and sneaky about the whole thing. So we were trying to get all of you to do a quick segment on Good Morning America on Friday morning. So they had me go downtown in Minneapolis to a studio that does this sort of thing for them all the time. And I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, that's what media
used to
personalities do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, you don't sleep. You don't
American
have to wear
people.
undergarments. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Right, show up at 4:30. Anyway, so I went downtown, and then they had us on this little live feed like they do.
Yes.
And they said we have 4 of you here because you are the top 4. And that was when we found out.
And you can watch that you can click to it on Facebook. It's on
Watch
Good Morning
it
America.
happen.
You can see that you, and when they announce you as the guru, do you think it's going to happen that same way?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, Carla, because I know you always give mommy advice here, and you always. So I thought, I don't know what you were planning to do, but I thought, what about the mommy advice when someone has to say, well, how does a mom deal with stardom? Thought that could be really helpful. Do you have a speech prepared already? Do you have comments?
I have a little bit of a speech. I have a little bit of a speech. It's very humble. And it's got a lot of surprise built into it because in theory I need to be surprised.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I've gotten this job. So. Yeah,
so you're not going to so it's not going to begin with the phrase "What took you so long"?
No. That was in an early draft, but I decided to take that out.
I think that's wise. Hey, Carla, I don't know if you heard, but some of us aren't cancers anymore. That there's a new astrological calendar.
Oh, believe you me, I heard I'm a Capricorn all of a sudden.
Now you're a Capricorn.
I've been an Aquarius my whole life, had our own song and everything.
Can you sing a
Went
few?
from being a water sign to a whatever a Capricorn is. I've never paid any attention.
Isn't a Capricorn the animal with the?
Yeah, it's the ram or whatever.
The ram? I was confused it with unicorn. I'm picturing a unicorn right now.
We're goats.
No.
You're goats.
I don't know.
Are you?
I'm really distressed by the whole thing.
Are you?
Well, I mean, like I said, we have a song.
Yes, Aquarius is nice. It sounds good. It feels good. The whole thing. Well, maybe you need to approach this whole being the mommy or the advice giver on GMA from the view of a Capricorn. Maybe that's what this has all been about.
I know. I might need to look at it. And you know what's interesting is that I fit some of the profile of the typical Aquarius.
Yes.
Kind of free flowing and going with things, but Aquarius.
I'm sorry.
I'm kind of free flowing.
I've never ever pictured you like that.
Wow. Okay.
Wait a minute. What?
Nothing.
I'm like one of those. Do I strike you as a type A, hyper planned kind of person?
Yes, you nailed it.
Have I really been that good at bluffing my way through life that I've convinced you I'm someone with a plan?
Yeah. Okay. No. Anyway. Go on.
No, you're free flowing. You go flow on.
Hey, on the chat room that happens because people are watching live over at DougPagittRadio.com on the live link. Someone just commented that Jesus was a Capricorn.
Not anymore.
No, now he's an Ukafukas.
Is he an Ukafukai? Okay.
Might not be anymore. Yep.
All right. So go on.
Oh, I don't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, just
that you weren't fully Aquarius.
Yeah, that I wasn't fully an Aquarius because they love change. They're big on change, and I'm not. I've never quite been big on change. I like it after it happens, but I don't dig it.
Well, you know what I like? I like the kind of change where something bad stops and something good starts.
Right.
I'm really comfortable with that kind of change.
Yeah, bring that on.
And I like the kind of change where someone else does all the planning and just tells me where to be.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, the thing that bugged you, it's not around anymore.
We fixed it. So now you can do this instead. Thank you.
Yeah. How come nobody ever says, like, boy, I wish I hadn't gotten that rock out of my shoe. I don't do well with change.
That's right.
Well, Carla, I know you can't sit around all day talking about your soon-to-be stardom on Good Morning America, even though we would like to do that all day. What's happening over at the Mommy Revolution?
Well, a lot. We've got a bunch of interesting things coming up this week. A friend of ours is going to be a guest blogger for us this week, and I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this whole Mommy Wars. Of course you have. The Mommy Wars are all fired up again.
What?
You know what the Mommy Wars are?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. Well, the Mommy War is basically that however you're raising your children is not right. And so it comes up in it comes up in the whole should women be working and that kind of thing. It comes up over and over, and all it takes is one news story or one cover story somewhere. And last Sunday in the Wall Street Journal, this woman named Amy Cho had an excerpt from a book that she's written called The Tiger Mother, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. And she wrote this. They had an excerpt from it where she talks about how she raises her children with this very Asian sensibility. And people can look it up. It's on the Wall Street Journal. It's all over the place. And so basically, she talked about this very, very regimented, strict, achievement-oriented way of parenting.
Oh, I have read that about. Yeah.
Right. So you don't. She's like, my kids have never been to a sleepover. They've never been in the school play because I won't let them. They practice their piano, and I wouldn't let my daughter go to the bathroom until she was done practicing, and all this stuff. And she's taken a ton of heat for it, and there's been a lot of backlash. And also in her article, though, she talks a lot about how she contrasts this with Western style of parenting, where we're so concerned with our kids' self-esteem.
Oh,
and she really poo-poos that in her book, or at least in this excerpt. So in the week that's followed, now there've been backlash. She's been on talk shows trying to explain herself, and now today she's got a new article, or maybe it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. A new kind of a follow-up article in the Wall Street Journal.
Oh boy!
About
she's worked this thing into 2 articles in the Wall Street Journal.
I know, right? So and there's something in the New York Times. Their mommy blogger has a whole big response to it. There's, I mean, it's just been countless pushback on this. And so our friend Helen Lee, who is a Korean American, is going to write a post for us about kind of her feelings about it, because she struggled with that very way of parenting. That was what was expected of her.
Is this because there's something about Asian culture that has a different set of priorities and a different set of character qualities that they want to instill?
I mean, that's sort of what Amy Chow is saying, and I think that's what Helen's going to talk about too. Anyway, we're gonna be having that conversation this week, and we would love to hear from people on their perceptions. And I have my own thoughts on it, but we're anxious to see what Helen's got to say and kind of her take on kind of. She had to break away from one set of stereotypes, and has she now fallen into another set, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, but it's interesting, just the height of the response to this thing. Just reminds you that these issues never really go far below the surface, even when they're not being talked about. It doesn't take much to pick off that scab and have the whole thing erupt again. So,
they're still an issue, and people look for an opportunity to talk about them that seems to gather other people's attention, huh?
Absolutely. And and this woman, Amy Chow, the author of the original piece, she said, sort of surprised by how strong the reaction has been. But it's interesting at the same time to think, well, You should have known. As soon as you start, I mean, it doesn't even matter what you say. As soon as you start talking about parenting in a public forum, you're going to get heat for it. It wouldn't matter what she said. So it's just sort of that, you know, this is what we deal with in the Mommy Revolution, is sort of this idea, why can't we even talk about how we're different without it having to create all this hubbub? Why can't we just say, this is how I parent? I mean, Amy Chow's article was not, wasn't writing to me, Carla Barnhill, to say you're doing this wrong. Mm-hmm. She's describing her own thing, her own way of parenting, and she's criticizing sort of a broad-based approach to parenting that she sees. But I don't have to take that personally, but so many people have. And, you know, people with kind of public voices, almost as public as mine, have taken the opportunity to kind of get out there and get that conversation going again. So anyway, it's an interesting time in the mommy revolution world.
Yeah, because it's not easy, right? Because when you start talking about someone's parenting, you're really starting to talk about someone's view of the world, aren't you?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Well, yeah, and this has always been our kind of mantra over at Mommy Revolution, is that we get so defensive about parenting because we're terrified that we're doing it wrong. There's nothing that we've done before for most of us that has felt this terrifying, that is this big, that seems to have such long-term ramifications for getting it right or getting it wrong, and that is so constantly changing, where you just kind of, you never quite know if you're doing something that's helpful or not. Is what I'm doing right now going to wreck my kid or help them? And so when someone comes along and suggests you should be doing it a different way, it just pushes all those buttons of fear and paranoia that you've ruined this precious, precious person that you've been put in charge of. And so that's where I think it really what it boils down to. It's not even, like I said, it doesn't even matter what she said. It's that she said anything that's distressing to people, because as soon as you start to question how people parent, you've gone right for the core of their fear.
Well, this is the kind of wisdom that you hear over the Mommy Revolution. You hear on Doug Pagitt Radio, and soon, I just know it, you're going to be reading on GoodMorningAmerica.com and hearing on Good Morning America television program, including the week of January 24th, when Carla's going to be out in New York on the big stage.
Wow.
Right.
Carla, if we sent you a Doug Pagitt Radio T-shirt, would you wear it?
I don't know if I could. I'm very concerned about what I'm supposed to wear. So,
let's solve that problem right now with a commitment from you to wear the official Doug Pagitt Radio T-shirt. Hey, Glenn, could you get on producing a Doug Pagitt Radio T-shirt? Because we need one for the 24th when Carla's out on Good Morning America.
See, I've got a Sharpie that won't wash out.
That would be good enough. Yeah. Maybe we could ask the listeners to put us together a Doug Pagitt Radio T-shirt that Carla could at least bring with her and have as one of the wardrobe options. I think we should commission you and send you off that way. Carla, we love you around here, and we're pulling for you, and don't forget us when you hit the big time. And just remember, we knew you when you were an Aquarius.
Thank you.
So when you are a big time Capricornian, remember us little Geminis.
I will.
Hey, we're going to be back here with a cripes and a come on, and you got to be kidding me that I can't wait to get off my chest. Doug Pagitt Radio, AM 950, the voice of Minnesota, and DougPagittRadio.com. Click on the live link. You can watch this happen.
Stop by the AM